Hi! Hi, my name is Chelsea Felderoff, and today I'm going to be talking about my term paper about English language learners. So to start off, English language learners are children or students or general adults even that are coming to another country and they're going to learn English for the first time. And they may come with no prior background experience in English, or little to none actually. So a typical ELL student comes into the classroom really scared, really intimidated, because they don't know what's going on, because they can't understand it. And usually that's met with teachers that don't know how to teach them, because there is the communication barrier. So there's just turmoil in the classroom. So either the student gets ignored, or they're marked as, sorry for saying this, but they're marked as dumb or stupid, and they're placed in special education classes when they just don't understand what's going on in the classroom. So what I wrote about are the 8 most common grammar mistakes that I found in teaching and in student work. So the first grammar mistake that I found were count or non-count noun errors. So a counting noun per se is something that can be easily pluralized, like dollars, miles, meters, something that you can easily add an S onto. And a non-counting noun error is something that cannot easily be pluralized. Like, for an example, it's wisdom. If you can't add an S onto that, sounds kind of funny. And love, or I'm looking around my desk trying to find another example, sorry. So just ideas and concepts. So something that's not particularly just, you can say, oh, there's like 5 pennies right here. You can't say, oh, there's 5 loves, which an English language learner would do. So to correct that, you have to really emphasize that there's counting and non-counting nouns, and you need to really drill that with your student. So, and then the next one is an incorrect or entirely missing article. And articles are a, an, and the, or other ones, but they come before the noun, and they emphasize that a noun is following. So in a typical ELL sentence, you would find, I can't even do it. It sounds so weird to me. It'd be, dog is going down the street. So that would be the mistake. Instead of saying a dog is going down the street, so it'd be missing that A. And so you would really need to figure out how to get the idea across to your student. So really, you just have to emphasize memorization with articles. But then there's the fact that there's some nouns that don't require one. So it's really, really confusing to ELLs, and it's just, okay. And the next one is a preposition error. So an example of that would be, in March, I'm going to the store. And so it would just be mixed up. So instead of in, they would do on March. So on March, I am going to the store. That doesn't even sound right. And so with prepositions, you really have to list, just drill it again. Memorization and practice and homework and studying really help with ELL learners. And then the next one is repeating subjects. Repeating subjects would be, my professor, she is good. So you're taking professor and you're repeating it with she, and it's really unnecessary reiteration. And so with that, you just really need to tell your students and emphasize that that is wrong. And the next one is verb form. Verb form would have to do with past and non-past. I myself only learned that there was only 2 types of verb form just this semester, and so you can imagine how difficult that would be with the ELL student. So most people think there's past, present, and future tense, which present and future are classified into non-past. So with the verb form, instead of putting like the ed on a past verb, ELL student would put like an ing, and they just mix it up. So you'd really just have to emphasize that it's not correct, and just again work with homework and studying and memorization and all those good things. The next thing is irregular verb form error, and that kind of goes back with the last point, so I'm not going to emphasize that too much. And there's wrong verb form after a verb. So instead of putting the ing or the ed after a verb, like they don't, like the subject or like the verb and like the modifiers don't match, if that makes sense. And then the last one is wrong word order. Word order is dealing with adjectives, and so it breaks down into like, okay, it breaks down into how they fall among a list, or how it typically falls along. So if you have adverbs, like several ones in a sentence, you would first start off by the article or a noun signal word, so like a, and, the, and most. A judgment, so like wonderful or useful, and then size would be large, big, or small. Shape, age, color, nationality, and then a material. So however your adjective falls in, like your several adjectives, like with my paper I got a new green Christmas tree, since it is Christmas. And so because new is before color, or new comes before green in the list as far as age and color, that's how your adjectives will be listed. And so with an ELL student, you would find that they would do, oh, I have a green new Christmas tree, and that would be incorrect. So after that, I go on to talk about tips and strategies for teaching and how to help ELL students. The first strategy I listed was just extra time in the classroom and on homework assignments. It doesn't mean that you sit there and give them an extra hour or so on. It's just like an extra 10 minutes maybe. But that extra 10 minutes goes so far, because they actually have time to comprehend and actually, okay, well, this is what this means, and they actually have time to understand it and work through the problem, rather than being rushed and then just saying, well, I can't figure this out, so I'm not going to do it. And then the next one was incorporate the student culture into the classroom. So that would mean asking the student to teach all their peers, like simple phrases, simple words, greetings, and maybe even numbers to their other students, so that they would actually feel like they're involved in the classroom, and that actually the other peers would feel like they would get to know something about a different culture. So it really helps with the students that it's just found out. And then the last one is have real expectations. Having the expectation, that's one thing that most ELLs get. That's what teachers have a problem with, because they think that ELs come into a classroom and they're like, oh, well, they're just going to pick it up just like that, and they really can't. So just have real expectations of them. Know what they are going to produce, because they may understand what you're talking about, but they just don't know. They're just not good with language production. And so that you just have to keep simple statements, simple words, and not use so many variations. Just keep it plain and clear. And even though it may sound like you're just dumbing it down per se, you're really just helping emphasize what your ELL is trying to learn. Alright, well, that'll do it for me. Thank you so much for watching.